Tourists attacked by wasps. Introduction of a safety jacket to protect tourists. This is not Horton Plains, this is Sigiriya. Who would like to wear the same jacket worn by so many others? What if it is torn and a wasp gets in? What if it happens to a child? That will be the day Sigiriya will suffer. An alternative method. An alternative method will be used to protect both tourists as well as the wasps. 2 days ago, another wasp attack. Why hasn't a mechanism been implemented to protect tourists? Is it to make this World Heritage Site a nightmare to tourists?
And up next is a look at the newspaper cartoon of the day.
Well, from one Olympic to another, the Sri Lankan team participating at the 2012 Culinary Olympics from the 5th to the 10th of October this year was announced in Colombo today. The team consists of chefs Ushanta Kulatunga, Manjula Vikrama, Shamika Pereira, Kasun Premachandra, Sanjeeva Niroshan, and the team is captained by Chef Dimuthi Kumar Singha. The manager of the team will be Chef Gerard Mendes. Over 50 countries, including Sri Lanka, will be participating at the Culinary Olympics later this year.
The Pathfinder Foundation stresses that Sri Lanka must begin to look at markets in developing countries in the Asian region if the government aims to boost exports, which are currently on the decline. Now, the foundation points out that Sri Lanka cannot continue to rely on traditional markets such as Europe and the United States in the current global economic scenario.
According to the Pathfinder Foundation, exports as a percentage of GDP have declined. The foundation points out that factors such as the exchange rate regime that prevailed and protectionist trade policies may have precipitated this decline. The Pathfinder Foundation notes that although a raft of new reforms have been introduced, including a more flexible exchange rate regime, it is yet questionable whether enough has been done to boost exports on the long term.
Our exports as a percentage of GDP has reduced from 33% in 2001 to about 17% last year. Now, the government has already introduced macroeconomic reforms, including moving to a more floating exchange rate that has helped in creating a more conducive environment to our exports. However, the jury is still out whether this is enough. And secondly, we have to diversify our export markets, especially since America and Europe is going to experience sluggish growth in the foreseeable future. India has the advantage of proximity and a well-functioning FTA. With China, we have excellent bilateral economic relations for over decades, from the Rubberized Pact in 1952 to the recent investments in infrastructure development. This is a solid base in which we can pursue export as well as tourism markets and other investments.
Well, moving away from the London 2012 Games for a minute, up next is a look at our investigative journalism segment, Action TV.
With the third service extension of Dr. Ajit Mendes coming to an end last week, the Minister of Health, Maithripala Sirisena, revealed as to what steps will be taken to fill the seat of Health Services Director General left vacant by Dr. Mendes. Tomorrow we will inform the Cabinet that his term is over and that a new replacement has to be made to that position. The Cabinet will then decide whether the existing individual will remain in that post or a new appointment will be made. That decision will be reached at tomorrow's Cabinet meeting. A media briefing was held today to create awareness on the decisions taken at the above-mentioned Cabinet meeting. The post of Director General of Health Services has been vacant since last week. Has any decision been made on this? The minister will have to take a decision over it. The minister will hold interviews and decide who will be appointed to this post. Through this explanation, we can come to a conclusion that the subject minister has decided to hand a 1-month service extension to the said retired officer. Such a service extension would be similar to a contract. Circular number 24 of 2011 was issued late last year following advice given by the President to the Cabinet of Ministers. According to this circular, and when taking into consideration the abundance of talented and skilled officials that are present within the Health Department, it is questionable as to why such a retired official would be granted a contract to remain in office for 1 more month.
Well, Sonali, before we wrap up tonight's news, I want to talk about a very serious issue from back here at home, which is actually having repercussions across the globe. Do you know that 822 individuals who attempted to illegally migrate to Australia have been arrested so far this year in Sri Lanka?
Well, that's right. A majority of these individuals were arrested while attempting to illegally migrate in small fishing boats. Now, why do people go to such extents, risking their lives in order to reach the land down under?
I'm currently on a multi-day fishing trawler which is docked at the Negombo harbour. People use such multi-day vessels to illegally travel to Australia. But why do people risk their lives by undertaking such a dangerous journey in such a cramped up space?
The distance between Sri Lanka and Australia is nearly 3,000 nautical miles. However, illegal migrants first attempt to make their way to Christmas Island, which is approximately 1,800 nautical miles off the coast of Sri Lanka. When they leave, they say that they are going fishing. However, midway into their journey, they board people. They load the people into boats such as this and send them to sea. This is the true story. We do not stay up all night to monitor all the boats that leave. The Navy is present right next door. They sometimes escape the Navy as well. A multi-day fishing trawler can comfortably carry up to 5 people as well as provisions for 1 month. However, the Navy arrested 68 illegal migrants in one such vessel recently. Among those on board were 2 women and 3 children. We risk millions on trust. All this is based on trust. A boat costs around 2.5 to 3 million. We first obtain around 200,000 rupees from each individual. Some people get caught while the others slip by. We load as much provisions as possible. We expect to collect 400,000, but on some occasions we only get 200,000 and the people also go missing. We spend about 8 to 9 million rupees for a trip and we get only about 5 million in return. Due to the current situation in the country, people have no jobs and they do not have anything to eat or drink. If they can go there and survive, that is what they want.
Why do individuals spend such a large sum of money and put their lives at risk? The fishing trade has collapsed. As a result of this, we travel to Australia, ignoring the risks involved.
And on that note, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News. Remember, if you want to read up on any of the stories that we had tonight, you can log on to our website at www.newsfirst.lk. You can also follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and catch any bulletins that you've missed on our YouTube channel, News First International.
That's right, and don't go anywhere. Up next, we'll be taking a look at live action from the 2012 London Olympics.
For Primetime News, I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Sonali Manikwadage. Good night.